Priyankar Biswas from BNP Paribas to discuss major changes to the highway toll collection rules, as the new rules will allow users to pay based on the distance they cover with no toll charge up to 20 kilometers. And we will also discuss about the key trends as far as the ports and logistics sector is concerned. Good afternoon, Priyankar. Thank you so much for joining us. First up, we hope you've had a chance to look at the new rules that most likely will be implemented by the NHAI. What do you make of them, and what kind of impact do you see road developers will face from this particular proposed norms?
Yeah, thanks, Vivek, for having me. Yes, we did have some cursory glance on the rules that were laid out. What my take essentially is that this allows for like almost 20 kilometers of free movement on either side for the global navigation satellite system onboard unit enabled vehicles. Now, in such a case, there could be a potential that at least on the lower lead traffic, there could be some loss of, you can say, revenues out there. But having said that, what we had witnessed earlier, like with the FASTag, is that there has been a significant curbing of leakages. So, for instance, the numbers reported by NHAI, so the total toll collections pre-COVID versus what it is now, it's more than 2x. So we are almost 600 billion rupees plus. So it can be seen both ways. But on a logistics space, I would say that it's a good development in a sense that probably the congestions and a more free movement. So that would be a better thing per se.
Okay, so it is a good update that has come by. Priyankar, I wanted to understand two things. One, what happens to FASTag in that case? Does it go away completely? Will there be a hybrid model? How long would the execution take? And second, what are some of the challenges that these toll operators would face? Because I believe there would be no toll required at all in that case, right? Toll centers, so to say. Does it work that way?
So it's too early to tell at this moment. So what I can tell you is that the pilot that was conducted, so it was conducted at 2 states. So one was in Karnataka and the other one was in Haryana. So what it seems for now that it would be a hybrid model. So there would be specific lanes for FASTags at this one. So anyone who ventures into the GNSS side, so that would be a double toll essentially. So in case of FASTags, there has been instances where, let's say, proper reading could not be taken, then almost like more than a 1 minute delay or queuing up at the tolling points. So eventually, maybe the government may be viewing it this way that in the long term, maybe FASTag may not be there.
Priyankar, one thing which you want to understand is longer term, NHAI ordering has been slightly muted. In the longer term, do you feel that there may be a shift away, from what the NHAI essentially does in terms of BOT, TOT project, and there could be a shift also in terms of the timelines within which road developers can expect to recover the kind of equity they put in? So how do you see that activity impacted by this move?
So at least it depends like whether the government eventually goes up whole hog in the BOT model, or it tends to stick with the HAM model, which it has been following. So of course, this is relevant if someone has to consider it from a BOT point of view. What we have seen, since you brought up the question of order inflows, so NHAI ordering has been, I would say overall more ordering as such, besides NHAI, has been kind of weak in the last year. So that was, of course, you can say, as which we have been flagging, that possibly an election year impact. And things should actually improve from here on. But whether it would be back to the peak levels, difficult to tell at this point, because at the moment, the NHAI balance sheet really won't be that supportive.
Okay, so that is about order activity and generally the changes that we have seen in the infra space. Now let's talk about a specific name, and that's JSW Infra. Vivek yesterday had a story that they are looking at raising funds via QIP. What, according to you, would be the right way of fundraise for this company and also to reduce promoter holding? Is it the capex that they need for expansion, as Vivek had pointed out earlier? Is this the right way to go about it?
Yes, so in fact, what you just pointed out is among the topmost questions on investors' minds. So we had actually taken out a report called Your Questions, Our Answers, so which is like the topmost questions. So this is one of the topmost questions. So if let's say so we have done a scenario of sorts. So if let's say OFS versus at QIP, because ultimately at the end of the day, the promoters will have to come to this 75% levels. So what I gather from investors is it would be QIP would be more favorably looked at. And since they are today at 86, and if you have to come down to 75, that would require if you do the QIP route, something close to 13-14% odd extra free float. And at current prices, that would be broadly like a 95 billion rupees equity. That is what we had planned out. Now, management will, of course, have to justify raising these levels. They have to justify the growth pipeline as well. That is what we have also pointed out. So essentially, if they are able to show a strong pipeline of projects with, let's say, ROCs greater than 18%, then of course, this should be favorably viewed by investors.
Priyankar, one last question. How do you view valuations at this point of time? JSW Infra is slightly expensive compared to its peer.
So yes, if you look at it at a simple glance on a, let's say, EV/EBITDA multiple that is traditionally used by the industry, FY26 and FY27 would appear high, so 20 plus. But the key growth projects are not getting commissioned during this period. The growth projects, the phase 1 is getting commissioned after around FY28, and more of it comes more like FY30. So if we apply a steady state multiple of 11.5 on FY30 and then discount back, that is that is how our target price gets justified. So I would say it looks expensive because the growth projects are still coming up. The potential for leveraging of the balance sheet, because now it's net cash. So that also has to be considered. They have a threshold of 2.5 net debt EBITDA.
Oh, okay. All right, Priyankar, thank you so much for joining us today and explaining to us the new toll rules and your take on JSW Infra as well. That stock definitely is in focus right now. We'll slip into a break now. Management of MapMy India will join us next to discuss the business outlook, their recent partnership with Zoom Car. That is something that we'll quiz them on. Stay tuned.